Every January, this same small town in the Swiss Alps quietly assumes a new title, the capital of the world. Snow falls softly over glass chalets. Helicopters track through the mountain fog. Inside, the world's most powerful individuals gather: presidents, CEOs, central bankers to discuss equality, sustainability, and the future of humanity. They claim they are here to fix the world's problems. Yet, every year, they fly home in private jets, markets reopen, and the system remains unchanged, only wealthier, only rebranded. The rich are richer, the poor are poorer, and the machine keeps running. Welcome to the chronology of wealth, where money, power, and history collide. And nothing is ever as simple as it looks. The true story of Davos isn't some coded conspiracy written in secret minutes. It is written completely in the open in photo ops, polished press releases, and polite, predictable speeches. Its enduring power doesn't stem from its ability to hide. It stems from its ability to pretend it doesn't need to. The World Economic Forum, as it's formally known, is not a government. It holds no voters, claims no borders, and operates with zero democratic accountability. Yet, for half a century, it has quietly directed global markets, shaped political policies, and defined what progress even means. Its origin, in 1971, was modest. A 33-year-old German engineer named Klaus Schwab simply invited European business leaders for a symposium on management theory. But his timing was perfect. That same year, the DAVOS dismantled the gold standard, ending the post-war financial order. Governments were losing their grip on the economy, and corporations were discovering they no longer required sovereign states to grow. The conference offered something entirely new. A neutral ground where CEOs and policymakers could meet outside the noise of parliaments and the constraints of elections. No aggressive press, no angry protests. No politics, just pure, unadulterated power. Switzerland, neutral and discreet, became the perfect home for this new gathering of stateless business. It wasn't about democracy. It was about efficiency. As the 1970s delivered economic shocks, Davos found its deeper purpose. By the 1980s, it was a legitimate institution, the unofficial parliament of globalization. By 1992, it was formally rebranded as the World Economic Forum. The name lent it a deceptive air of officialdom, as if it were a branch of the United Nations. But it is, fundamentally, a private foundation. Yet world leaders began making the pilgrimage yearly. Presidents came to signal their economies were open for business. Central bankers came to signal their intentions to global markets. CEOs came to silently shape the regulatory landscape. Davos became a mirror reflecting global ambition, a place where the powerful came simply to confirm one another's vital importance. The real shift came after the Cold War, when the Soviet Union collapsed, capitalism reigned supreme. The WEF seized that vacuum. It brilliantly rebranded the relentless pursuit of profit as the noble pursuit of universal progress. Globalization became the new universal faith, and Davos, it became its Vatican. This was the true genius of Schwab's creation. Davos didn't need to conquer power. It simply absorbed it. The structure is elegantly simple. The WEF is funded through exclusive memberships. A standard corporate ticket costs tens of thousands. But to join the inner circle, to become a strategic partner, you pay well over $500,000. These partners are not random. They are BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, Microsoft, and Google. In exchange, they gain direct, unparalleled access to the ministers who draft laws and the officials who control central banks. The public panels, the ones we see about sustainability and equality, are the show, the real business. That happens in private rooms where CEOs and ministers coordinate in quiet alignment. Nothing that happens here is illegal. That is the brilliance. It is not a conspiracy. It is a system performing exactly as designed. When the world's most powerful economic actors share the same room, they don't need to scheme. They just align their interests. Every new theme, the Great Reset, stakeholder capitalism, points in one direction towards policies that make global capital more predictable, more stable, and ultimately more profitable. When the WEF proposed the Great Reset after the pandemic, the language was utopian. But the practical effect was clear. It channeled massive public spending into digital infrastructure and green initiatives, directly benefiting the powerful private hands that already owned the system. Davos's real power resides in its posture. It never claims to rule, it claims to help. It doesn't dictate law. It shapes the vocabulary that laws are written in. It doesn't control the markets. It defines their moral justification. When companies profiting from pollution sponsor panels on climate change, this isn't hypocrisy, it's strategy. If you control the narrative of reform, you never have to pay the true cost of that reform. The WEF built a culture, training future decision makers through its young Global Leaders Programmer network designed to carry the Davos mindset into every corner of the world. They speak the same language of progress, efficiency, and inevitability. This is not about secret plans in smoke-filled rooms. It's about quiet, expensive agreement in glass ones. It's not about who controls the system. It's about who agrees never to question it. The symbolism has become theatrical. Activists protest in the snow while private jets line the airport. The contradictions are part of the ritual proof that Davos is untouchable. Yet, attendance never drops. Because Davos is now what every power structure eventually becomes, a stage. The real truth is effective because it's quiet. Davos doesn't issue orders. It manufactures alignment. When the 2008 crisis hit, the WEF called for stakeholder capitalism, putting purpose over profit. It sounded radical, but the reality, the same companies that crashed the system immediately rebranded themselves as its saviors, consolidating influence while governments argued over austerity. By 2020, the language shifted again with the Great Reset. The idea was seductive, use the crisis to build fairer foundations, but the subtext was clear. Reset didn't mean redistribute. It meant digitize, automate, and monetize the next phase of human existence, guided by those who already own the digital infrastructure. Historically, empires built temples to signal unity under divine order. Colonial powers met to divide the world under the banner of progress. Today, we gather in the Alps, not to divide territory, but to align narratives. The rituals change. The outcome does not. Outside those glass walls, trust is collapsing. The world senses that decisions are being made elsewhere by people they will never meet. They are not wrong. The machinery of global coordination has outgrown democracy's reach. The real power of Davos isn't the handshakes. It's the silence that follows the shared, unspoken understanding that the basic rules of the game will remain the same: the free flow of capital and the protection of markets. It's a faith older than any religion. The conviction that those who benefit most from the system are the only people qualified to save it. Every civilization builds a priesthood to explain why its power is righteous. Rome had its senators. The church had its cardinals. The modern world has Davos. The cycle of history always ends the same way. The people who believe they can manage the world eventually discover they were only managing themselves. If this gave you a new perspective, hit subscribe. History has the answers and I'll show you where to look.